Is the American economy in danger? It's starting to look that way. Do not be fooled by the GDP figures that came out for the second quarter. It's a sham. In the beginning of the year, the first quarter, the economy shrunk by half a percentage point, but now we're seeing 3% growth in the second quarter of this year, and that is BS. The reason why the economy shrunk in the first half of the year is because America imported as much as they possibly could to get ahead of the tariffs. For those of you who don't know about tariffs, other countries don't pay the tariffs we set. Our importing companies pay the tariffs, and then they pass the cost on to the consumer. Now, the reason why the second quarter grew by 3%, it looked very nice, but it's only because we imported significantly less from other countries. Now, our imports dropped, but did we export more? No, we actually had a steep drop over the past couple months. Compare this huge increasing trend in US exports after COVID. We were actually far ahead of China percentage-wise, and it looked like we were going to start overtaking them in month-by-month exports. But no, our exports dropped even though our dollar got weaker. When the dollar gets weaker, we're supposed to see an increase in exports, but because of the tariffs, which are hurting the American worker and the overall economy, that's not happening. And this huge jump we saw in US exports after COVID, that was so nice and dramatic, that was with a strong dollar. So our currency was worth much more than it is today, and we were selling more US goods. So we're importing less, we're exporting less. So not only are we doing less business, stuff is still getting more expensive for everybody, as we just got new core inflation numbers, and yeah, there was a nice big jump, even though before, up until a few months ago, we were beating it. It was dropping down dramatically. Continuing jobless claims were creeping up a little bit in 2024, but now they've shot right up over the past 3 months. And initial jobless claims have been growing since 2023, and it looks like that trend shows no sign of slowing down. And let's not forget, unemployment was increasing in 2024, and it looks like it's showing no sign of dropping. It is currently at 4.2%. A better metric for looking at our labor force and how many people are actually employed would be the labor force participation rate, which generally is healthy at about 63%. COVID hit, of course, it took a huge nosedive, and then it started to quickly recover. But we could see around 2023, it started to gradually drop. But for the past 2 months, it took a nosedive. While this isn't directly related to job numbers, our total debt is now $37 trillion. And we hit that new record number years before it was expected because of the big, beautiful bill and all of the plans that were passed that are going to require us to incur an even larger deficit than before. But eventually, that debt problem will affect everybody's job because it is becoming worth even less. Very quick intro. The higher the interest rate America pays for its debt means the less money that debt is worth. From the end of 2023 to the end of 2024, the interest rate that we paid on our debt started to trend downwards, meaning our debt became worth more money. I'm talking about the most widely form held of US debt, and that is the 10-year Treasury. But after the November elections, the value of our debt dropped, the interest rate we had to pay increased, and now it's staying up at 4.25%. The yields that we were seeing in the Biden administration, almost 5%, 4.5%, those were supposed to be temporary. They were supposed to drop, and they were dropping until, of course, the tariffs. I've said for years that the debt problem wasn't as bad as everyone was making out to be because we saw eventually declining yields. But now that's not the case. It looks like we are stuck in this high yield territory. Even though America owes 75% of this debt to our own internal institutions, these are not sustainable figures. Now, every administration will do its best to cook the books to show that there is some kind of growth. The previous administration, the current one, absolutely. But the previous administration showed some bad data with negative GDP growth, with a whole slew of positive overall healthy looking infrastructure. This administration is a combination of bad data at the top, some book cooking for the second quarter, and then a whole litany of not promising economic data. I am the Geo Husar, and the way we stop this disaster from further unfolding isn't if we start taking to the streets, if we start calling our representatives, or start voting. That's, at this point, hacked and useless. The only thing we can really vote with are our dollars and our consumption. If we drop that, we put this government on its knees. Watch my other videos about it, and thank you for watching.